Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the Codex reading. Took a short break and we should be able to finish this off in, I'm guessing, probably about the same amount of time as the first video took. So let's go into the primary section. We'll do a few of these and then we'll jump over to secondary and then we'll finish off the primary because I don't think these ones are as long.
The Citadel is an ancient deep space station, presumably constructed by the Protheans. Since the Prothean extinction, numerous species have come to call the Citadel home. It serves as the political, cultural, and financial capital of the galactic community. To represent their interests, most species maintain embassies on the Presidium, the Citadel's inner ring. The Citadel Tower in the center of the Presidium holds the Citadel Council chambers. Council affairs often have far-reaching effects on the rest of the galactic community. 5 arms, known as the wards, extend from the Presidium. Their inner surfaces have been built into cities, populated by millions of inhabitants from across the galaxy. The Citadel is virtually indestructible. If attacked, the station can close its arms to form a solid, impregnable shell. For as long as the station has existed, an enigmatic race called the Keepers has maintained it.
So, nothing really new there that we haven't learned from our conversations on the Citadel.
The Council is an executive committee composed of representatives from the Asari Republics, the Turian Hierarchy, and the Solarian Union. Though they have no official power over the independent governments of other species, the Council's decisions carry great weight throughout the galaxy. No single Council race is strong enough to defy the other two, and all have a vested interest in compromise and cooperation. Each of the Council species has general characteristics associated with the various aspects of governing the galaxy. The Asari are typically seen as diplomats and mediators. The Solarians gather intelligence and information. The Turians provide the bulk of the military and peacekeeping forces. Any species granted an embassy on the Citadel is considered an associate member, bound by the accords of the Citadel Conventions. Associate members may bring issues to the attention of the Council, though they have no input on the decision. The Human Systems Alliance became an associate member of the Citadel in 2165.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was talk of having a human sit on the council as well, but that's still a ways off. Having a human into becoming a Spectre is like a huge deal, so a little bit of ways to go there.
Citadel space is an unofficial term referring to any region of space controlled by a species that acknowledges the authority of the Citadel Council. At first glance, it appears this territory encompasses most of the galaxy. In reality, however, less than 1% of the stars have been explored. Even mass effect FTL drive is slow relative to the volume of the galaxy. Empty space and systems without suitable drive discharge sites are barriers to exploration. Only the mass relays allow ships to jump hundreds of light years in an instant, the key to expanding across an otherwise impassable galaxy. Whenever a new relay is activated, the destination system is rapidly developed. From that hub, FTL drive is used to expand to nearby star clusters. The result is a number of densely developed clusters, thinly spread across the vast expanse of space, connected by the mass relay network.
I kind of feel like Joker might enjoy this reading more than I do, because I understood only some of the words. But basically, it's a huge giant area in space.
Spectres are agents from the Office of Special Tactics and Reconnaissance, and answer only to the Citadel Council. They are elite military operatives, granted the authority to deal with threats to peace and stability in whatever way they deem necessary. They operate independently or in groups of 2 or 3. Some are empathetic peacekeepers, resolving disputes through diplomacy. Others are cold-blooded assassins, ruthlessly dispatching problem individuals. All get the job done one way or another, often operating outside the bounds of galactic law. The Spectres were founded after the Solarians joined the Council. For many years, they operated in secrecy as backroom problem solvers. Only after the Krogan rebellions did their activities become publicized. Assignment of a Spectre is less contentious than a military deployment, but makes it clear that the Council is concerned about a situation.
Okay. That's good to know. So if they get a Spectre involved, there's like, it's something weird going on. It might not be like might not be as bad as sending out your whole military. But the Council is definitely taking issue with what's happening.
Humanity's first contact with an alien race occurred in 2157. At that time, the Alliance allowed survey fleets to activate any dormant mass relays discovered, a practice considered dangerous and irresponsible by Council-aligned races. When a Turian patrol discovered a human fleet attempting to activate a relay, they attacked. One human vessel survived, retreating to the colony of Shanxi. The Turians followed, quickly defeating the local forces. Shanxi was occupied, the first and to date only human world to be conquered by an alien species. The Turians believed the handful of ships they defeated represented the bulk of human defenses, so they were unprepared when the Second Fleet, under Admiral Castany Drescher, launched a strong counteroffensive, evicting them from Shanxi. The Turians mobilized for full-scale war, drawing the attention of the rest of the galaxy. The Council quickly intervened, forcing a truce. Fortunately for humanity, the First Contact War was ended with a diplomatic solution.
So the Turians, they could have wiped us out completely if it wasn't for the Council stepping in, so I guess we have them to thank for that.
The Systems Alliance is an independent supranational government representing the interests of humanity as a whole. The Alliance is responsible for the governance and defense of all extrasolar colonies and stations. The Alliance grew out of the various national space programs as a matter of practicality. Sol's planets had been explored and exploited through piecemeal national efforts. The expense of colonizing entire new solar systems could not be met by any one country. With humans knowing that alien contact was inevitable, there was enough political will to jointly fund an international effort. Still, the Alliance was often disregarded by those on Earth until the First Contact War. While the national governments dithered and bickered over who should lead the effort to liberate Shanxi, the Alliance fleet struck decisively. Post-war public approval gave the Alliance the credibility to establish its own parliament and become the galactic face of humanity.
Very cool. Okay. Let's do... What do we have left over here? Let's do Citadel and Galactic Government on this side. Some of these we already read in the game, so I'll probably skip the CSEC one. The Ring, I don't know if I covered this. Let's go through this. The Ring is an enclosed loop of park-like space serving as the connection point for the wards. The interior walls are lined with the embassies of influential species and private residences for the galaxy's elite. The Presidium is full of open-air restaurants, bars, and luxurious meeting areas. Gravity is about 1/3 Earth normal. Oh, I see what it... Okay. A holographic sky is projected over the ceiling of the Ring. Unlike the 24/7 bustle of the wards, the Presidium maintains a 20-hour day schedule, with a 6-hour night, where lights are dimmed and the sky goes through a night cycle. That's crazy. Offices and residences are often open to the interior. It is not unusual for embassies to have no exterior wall at all. This does not cause a crime problem due to the heavy CSEC presence and ubiquitous monitoring systems on the Presidium. Thieves are quickly identified and apprehended. The Ring is the location of the Citadel's spaceports. Being closer to the center of spin, there is less motion for a ship to match, and the reduced spin gravity makes handling cargo easier. Hundreds of ships pass through the Citadel every day, and every species with an embassy is granted a private dock. The tower at the center of the Ring holds the administration of the Citadel Council. The tower rises over 1 kilometer from the Ring, appearing to thrust forward parallel to the ward arms. As the tower is at the center of the spin axis, it experiences little centrifugal force. Gravity is maintained using mass effect fields and a 90-degree angle to the ring of wards. A constellar dock can be found at the base of the tower. While normally used for diplomatic couriers and Spectre business, the shuttles docked here can evacuate the Council government in an emergency. Okay, and here's some statistics. Let's see if anything really jumps out at us. Population 13.2 million, not including keepers. There's what, 21 of those that we know about? I think it's 21. I guess they could be more. Maybe they rotate in and out. I don't know. We just have to scan 21 at some point. Alright. The majority of the Citadel's population lives in the wards, the 5 massive arms of the station that house the residential and commercial districts. Many galactic races have established cultural enclaves here. Population density and cost of living are extremely high, akin to Earth cities such as Hong Kong and Singapore. The wards are open-topped with skyscrapers rising from the superstructure. Towers are sealed against a vacuum, as the breathable atmosphere envelope is only maintained to a height of about 7 meters. The atmosphere is contained by the centrifugal force of rotation and a membrane of dense, colorless sulfur hexafluoride gas held in place by carefully managed mass effect fields. The view from the wards is spectacular. In the background, stars, Serpent Nebula, and the nearby blue giant called the Widow move across the sky as the station rotates to stabilize itself. In the foreground, the lights of buildings and vehicles on the opposing ward arms perpetually shine. The Citadel has no real day or night. While the station keeps the standard galactic time for political functions, businesses rarely close and residents acclimate to sleep and work according to personal need rather than a day-night cycle. Even though I have to imagine that they could pretty easily influence that with the way that they run the ring, right? And if they wanted to have people asleep more, they probably could. People might do it without even noticing. That's interesting. Additions and modifications are constantly being constructed, though they must stay within certain specifications that will not compromise the operation of the station. Occasionally, the keepers will descend on the area of the wards and move or change the architecture without explanation. Residents have learned to live with these inexplicable intrusions. They're super weird. Treaty of Phyrexian. Due to the destructive potential of dreadnoughts, we read this. The council races agree to the Phyrexian Naval Conference to fix a ratio of dreadnought construction between themselves. At the top of the pyramid is the peacekeeping Turian fleet, of course. Below the Turians are the other council races, currently the Asari and Solarians. Council associate races are at the bottom. The human system alliance is part of the last group. So, Turian to council to associate dreadnoughts 5 to 3 to 1. So the Turians are just super powerful. It's crazy. Alright. Humanity and Systems Alliance. Humanity has encountered many galactic species. War has been few, but mistrust is rife. Politically, the Alliance is a peaceful trade partner of the Turians. As a practical matter, however, there is simmering antagonism and bigotry between both populations over the First Contact War, obviously. The Alliance enjoys good relations with the Asari, though many privately believe the matriarchs are aristocratic and overcautious. And these are, so the Asari, they live to be like, what, 1,000 or something it was? And in the later stages of life, they become these really powerful matriarchs. And I guess the Alliance doesn't really like that very much. Though humans know better than to unconditionally trust any Solarian, their shared restless, reckless ways make them natural allies against the conservative Turians and Asari. The Krogan have no unified government, but individuals are generally treated as potential criminals, a reputation most Krogan enjoy living down to. Oh, that's funny. I actually really like the Krogan. Probably one of my favorite characters of all the different ones we've met. I actually really like the Quarians too. The Turians look badass, and I really like the one that we have on our ship with us, Garrus, and all of these races are cool in their own way. Yeah, anyways, the Alliance has no formal contact with the Quarians. Well, now we do. Their migrant fleet has not yet passed through any human-settled system. And then the Batarians are rivals for control of the Skyllian Verge. They severed their treaties with the Citadel to prosecute a colonial conflict against the Alliance. Officially, there is no war, but neither is there any peace. Alright. Military jargon. Oh, this will be cool. Okay, ashore. When a ship's crew leaves the vessel, they are ashore. Though normally used regarding planets, it can refer to boarding a space station. Away. When a ship releases the equipment tethering it to a space station on surface dock, it is away. Aye, aye. The proper way to acknowledge an order. If told to attack, the correct response is aye, aye, sir. If asked, are you proud to be a Marine? The correct response is yes. Oh, that's funny. The correct response is yes, sir. Why couldn't you just aye, aye that? I guess, oh, because you have to, it's the difference between acknowledging an order and answering a question. So, ASAP, pronounced ASAP, an acronym of as soon as possible. Belay, stop, cease, bridge, the navigation center of a spacecraft where the steering is done. Captain's mast, non-judicial disciplinary proceedings by unit commanders. The CIC, combat information center, the command center of a spacecraft. The CIC is filled with sensor displays to make sense out of the chaos of combat. Damage control, the containment and repair of damage to a spacecraft. ECM, electronic countermeasures used to avoid enemy sensors from passive emissions masking to active jamming. EVA, extravehicular activity, time spent in a pressure suit outside of a vehicle, spacecraft, or station. Flank, the flank is a side of a military formation. Since the soldiers are facing elsewhere, an enemy that can attack on the flank can often turn it or roll it up. We'll have to learn about those. FNG, freaking new guys. Derisive term for inexperienced personnel. That's funny. Ground side, the surface of a planet. Helmsman, the crew member who pilots a spacecraft, so Joker. LADAR, light amplified detection and ranging, an active sensor that bounces lasers off an object to determine its bearing and distance. LADAR has sufficient resolution that the data can be reconstructed into an image. Cool. Shore party, spacecraft crew sent ashore on official business. Okay, so this is like the group that leaves the ship. Silent running, an old submariner's term used aboard the Normandy to denote when stealth systems are active. SITREP, abbreviation of situation report and evaluation of the current military situation. Spacer, someone who has spent most of their life in space. Executive Officer, XO, the second in command of an Alliance warship. The XO is responsible for administrative and personal matters. Okay. N7, the Alliance Military Vocational Code System classifies the career path of all serving personnel. The MVC consists of one letter and one number. A soldier's MVC indicates proficiency, not rank. The letter... Okay, interesting. The letter notes career path. The number indicates level of experience, as indicated by service record. So is indicated by service record, technical scores, and commendations. All 26 letters are used, and numbers run from 1 to 7. N is the letter code for special forces, and I guess 7 is the best. 7, like 1 to 7, 7 being the highest. Level of experience, so lower would, yeah, that would make sense. Okay, cool. So N7. Timeline, and I think we went through this. First contact war. Human learned biotics. A year later. 10% of exposed children learn or show some level of biotic ability. Batarian slavers attack the Alliance colony, and then here's the Skillian Blitz. Thresher Maws devour the Alliance colony, and then current date. Now here's the Torfin thing. In retaliation of the Skillian Blitz, an Alliance fleet wipes out an army of Batarian slavers on the moon of Torfin. Okay. Ships and vehicles. Let's go through some of these. So starships, crew considerations. Cabins give each individual 10 cubic meters of space. On larger vessels, private rooms are common. As ships get smaller, the number of crew packed into a single wardroom increases. Asari prefer shared spaces even on large vessels, while Krogan's territorial instincts make it impossible for them to cohabitate even on the smallest ships. On smaller vessels, hot bunking is the norm. Crew members assigned to different watches share the same bunk. When one gets off duty, he wakes up the person in the bunk. While that crewman is on duty, the first gets his rack time. Spacecraft compartments can be isolated by airtight doors in case of decompression. The cinematic vision of explosive decompression is fiction. Hold compartments either take enough damage that occupants are killed instantly, or leak slowly enough that they are able to reach protective gear. Compartments are equipped with emergency life support apparatus, fireproof plastic bubbles with air bottles. Small when stowed ELSA, so emergency life support apparatus, comfortably accommodate one individual inflated. Damage control procedures, DC. Procedures cut off ventilation to burning compartments. Without oxygen to consume, fires die in seconds. The compartment is repressurized afterwards for crew recovery. Mass effect fields create an artificial gravity, AGRAV, plane below the decks, preventing muscle atrophy and bone loss in 0G. Large vessels arrange their decks perpendicular to their thrust axis. The highest decks are at the bow and the lowest at the engines. This allows AGRAV to work with the inertial effects of thrust. Ships that can land arrange their decks laterally so the crew can move about while the vessel is on the ground. Warships normally turn off their AGRAV systems during combat, reducing the heat generated by systems and increasing combat endurance. To provide a point of reference for navigation in 0G, floors are painted a different color from the walls and ceiling. Like, so much detail, it's crazy. Okay, dreadnoughts, here we go. I want to know about this. So the dreadnought is the ultimate arbiter of space warfare. Millions of tons of metal, ceramic, and polymer dedicated to the projection of firepower against an enemy vessel of like ability. No sane commander would face a dreadnought with anything less than another dreadnought. And we know that the amount allowable by each race is drastically different. Like Turians to us are 5-1, right? So yeah, we don't want to mess with that. A dreadnought's power lies in the length of its main gun. Dreadnoughts range from 800 meters to 1 kilometer long with a main gun of commensurate length. An 800 meter mass accelerator is capable of accelerating one 2 kg slug to a velocity of 283 kilometers per second every 2 seconds. Each slug has a kinetic energy of 38 kilotons of TNT, 3 times the energy released by the fission weapon that destroyed Hiroshima. When used to bombard planets, some of this kinetic energy is lost due to atmospheric re-entry friction. As a rule of thumb, each Earth atmosphere of air pressure saps approximately 20% of your projectile's impact energy. The Turian fleet presently has 37 dreadnoughts, the Asari 21, and the Solarian 16. Humanity has 6, with an additional hull under construction at Arcturus Station. Alliance battleships are named for mountains of Earth. Everest class, oh cool, Kilimanjaro class. That's cool. So we will have 7 times 5, so that's the only reason we can build a 7th one, I guess, is because these guys have over 35. And I guess their growth determines how much more we could build, which is crazy. Light leg prevents sensing in real time at great distances. A ship firing its thrusters at the Charon or Charon relay can be easily detected from Earth, 5.75 light hours, 6 billion kilometers away. But Earth will only see the event 5 hours and 45 minutes after it occurs. Due to the light speed limit, defenders can't see enemies coming until they have already arrived. Because there is FTL travel and communications but no FTL sensors, frigates are crucial for scouting and picket duties. Passive sensors are used for long-range detection, while active sensors obtain short-range, high-quality targeting data. Passive sensors include visual, thermographic, and radio detectors that watch and listen for objects in space. A powered ship emits a great deal of energy. The heat of the life support systems, the radiation given off by power plants and electrical equipment, the exhaust of the thrusters. Starships stand out plainly because the near absolute zero feedback of space, or zero background of space. Passive sensors can be used during FTL travel, but incoming data is significantly distorted by the effects of the mass effect envelope and Doppler shift. Active sensors are radars and high-resolution LADARs, the laser detection and ranging, that emit a ping of energy and listen for return signals. LADARs have a narrower field of view than a radar, but LADAR resolution allows images of detected objects to be assembled, so they can create like those 3D they can replicate 3D things. Active sensors are useless when a ship is moving at FTL speeds. Okay. Let's go through the rest of these and then we can finish off the primary. So this is some technology about biotic amps. Biotics manipulate mass effect fields using dozens of element zero nodules within their nervous system that react to electric stimuli from the brain. Amplifiers allow biotics to synchronize the nodes so that they can form fields large and strong enough for practical use. Amplifiers can improve a specific discipline or talent. An implant is a surgically embedded interface port into which amps are plugged in. On humans, the implant is usually placed at the base of the skull for convenient access, though the user must be careful to keep it free of contaminants. Implant ports can fit a variety of amps, and there is a growing market for modifications and add-ons. The finest quality implants and amps are manufactured by Asari artisans, but the Alliance's L3 implants, first deployed in 2170, are a significant step forward. Real-time communication is possible thanks to networks of expensive mass relay comm buoys that can daisy chain a transmission via lasers. Comm buoys are maintained in patterns built outward from each mass relay. The buoys are little more than a cluster of primitive miniature mass relays. Each individual buoy is connected to a partner on another buoy in the network, forming a corridor of low mass space. Tight beam communication lasers are piped through these tubes of FTL space, allowing virtually instantaneous communication to anywhere on the network. The networks connect across regions by communications lasers through the mass relays. With this system, the only communications delay is the light lag between the source or destination and the closest buoy. So long as all parties remain within half a light second, 150,000 kilometers, of buoys, seamless real-time communications are possible. That's crazy. Since buoys are maintained in traveled areas, most enjoy unlimited instant communication. Ships only suffer communications lag when operating off established deep space routes around uninhabited outer system gas giants and other unsettled areas. During wartime, comm buoy networks are the first target of attack. Makes sense. Once a network is severed, it can take anywhere from weeks to years to get a message out of a contested system. In systems where a buoy network has not yet been built or has been destroyed, rapid communication means ferrying information through high-speed courier ships and unmanned data drones. And then credits, this is what we spend. So the standard credit was established by the Citadel's Unified Banking Act as a currency of interstellar trade. The credit has a managed floating exchange rate calculated in real time by the central bank to maintain the average value of all participating currencies. Some regional currencies are worth more than a credit, some less. Hard currency can be stolen or counterfeited, so electronic fund transfers are the norm. More importantly, physical transactions cannot be easily tracked, making them ideal for tax evasion or the purchase of illegal goods. When the Alliance joined the Citadel, its various national treasuries were linked into the credit network. A human with a bank account of Mexican pesos, Japanese yen, or Indian rupees can purchase any item priced in credits at fair market value. All economies that participate in the credit network are required to price items in both local currency and credits. Right on. And then we only have upgrades to read here. The development of practical manufacturing, Omni-tools, allows modern militaries a great deal of flexibility in equipment loadouts. A vast number of field modification kits or upgrades are available for common equipment such as weapons, armor, Omni-tools, biotic amps, and even grenades. An upgrade kit typically consists of less than a dozen unique parts and an optical storage disk. When loaded into an Omni-tool, the OSD provides all technical specifications required to manufacture the tools and additional parts necessary to install the upgrade onto another piece of equipment. Assembly is typically modular, and installation can be completed in less than a minute. Since Omni-tools are designed to use common battlefield salvage materials such as plastics, ceramics, and light metals, rendered into semi-molten Omni-gel for quick use, it is quite possible for a trained soldier carrying upgrade kits to customize their gear on the battlefield to fit the current tactical situation. Awesome. Alright, so we have a few more categories over here.
Pharos is a habitable world in the Attican Beta cluster. 2/3 of the habitable surface is covered with the ruins of a crumbling Prothean megatropolis. In the millennia since the Prothean extinction, the ruins have been repeatedly picked over by looters many times. Pharos was considered a poor prospect for colonization, as little open ground remains for agriculture. The only sizable freshwater sources are the poles, which are tapped by the decaying Prothean aqueduct systems. The dead cities, while in good condition considering their antiquity, are of uncertain stability. Ground level is congested by a dozen meters of fallen debris, and the air is fouled by dust. In 2178, the Human Exogeny Corporation announced its intention to place a permanent colony on Pharos to thoroughly explore the ruins. The pioneer settlement was placed on the upper levels of several intact skyscrapers, using the surviving Prothean aqueducts and rooftop hydroponic gardens to support the population.
Very cool. That is one of the places we need to go. Noveria as well, I believe, but I think we're heading to the Terminus systems first.
Noveria is a cool, rocky world with most of its hydrosphere locked up in massive glaciers. A privately chartered colony world, the planet is owned by the Noveria Development Corporation Holding Company. The NDC is funded by investment capital from 24 high-technology development firms and administrated by an executive board representing their interests. The investors built remote hot labs in isolated locations across Noveria's surface. These facilities are used for research too dangerous or controversial to be performed elsewhere, as Noveria is technically not part of Citadel space and therefore exempt from Council law. By special arrangement, Citadel's special tactics and reconnaissance agents have been granted extraterritorial privileges, but it remains to be seen how committed the Executive Board is to that principle. Given its unique situation, it is understandable that Noveria is often implicated in all manner of wild conspiracy theories.
So Noveria is kind of like the Area 51 of this world, I guess. And I said before that we're probably heading to Terminus systems first, but by the time you guys see this, we'll probably already be there. So, or maybe we'll have been in these places too, depending on when this goes up.
The Terminus systems are located on the far side of the Attican Traverse, beyond the space administered by the Citadel Council or claimed by the Human Systems Alliance. It is populated by a loose affiliation of minor species, united only in their refusal to acknowledge the political authority of the Council or adhere to the Citadel conventions. Their independence comes at a price. The Terminus is fraught with conflict. War among the various species is common, as governments and dictators constantly rise and fall. The region is a haven for illegal activities, particularly piracy and the slave trade. At least once a year, a fleet from the Terminus invades the nearby Attican Traverse. These attacks are typically small raids against poorly defended colonies. The Council rarely retaliates, as sending patrols into the Terminus systems could unify the disparate species against their common foe, triggering a long and costly war.
Okay.
There are between 200 and 400 billion stars in the galaxy, and less than 1% of them have ever been visited or had their systems properly surveyed. Humanity's early expansion into the Attican Traverse was haphazard, a desperate race to claim habitable planets where populations can be economically settled. Ignored in the wake of this land grab were thousands of less hospitable worlds, each potentially rich with industrial resources. The wealth of entire solar systems lies untapped, waiting for corporate survey teams or independent pioneers to discover and exploit them. However, this is not an easy task. In addition to the environmental hazards, the fact that uncharted worlds are largely ignored makes them popular bases for criminals, revolutionaries, cults, and others who wish to remain unnoticed by galactic society.
So basically, there's a lot of unknowns out there.
Faster-than-light drives use element zero cores to reduce the mass of the ship, allowing higher rates of acceleration. This effectively raises the speed of light within the mass effect field, allowing high-speed travel with negligible relativistic time dilation effects. Starships still require conventional thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, economy ion engine, or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the FTL drive core. With only a core, a ship has no motive power. The amount of EZO and power required for a drive increases exponentially to the mass being moved and the degree it is being lightened. Very massive ships, or very high speeds, are prohibitively expensive. If the field collapses while the ship is moving at faster than light speed, the effects are catastrophic. The ship is snapped back to sublight velocity, the enormous excess energy shed in the form of lethal Cherenkov radiation.
That would be a bad time, I think.
Larger warships are generally classified in one of four weights: Frigates are small, fast ships used for scouting and screening of larger vessels. Frigates often operate in wolf-pack flotillas. Cruisers are middleweight combatants, faster than dreadnoughts and more heavily armed than frigates. Cruisers are the standard patrol unit and often lead frigate flotillas. Dreadnoughts are kilometer-long capital ships mounting heavy, long-range firepower. They are only deployed for the most vital missions. Carriers are dreadnought-sized vessels that also carry large numbers of fighters. Smaller vessels are almost exclusively used in a support role to the warships during combat. Fighters are one-man craft used to perform close-range attacks on enemy ships. Interceptors are one-man craft optimized for destroying opposing fighters.
We know a little bit about interceptors from XCOM, so that's cool.
The Normandy is a prototype starship
baby.
developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space. The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, the ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters.
Okay, so it seems like our little Normandy here is a little special.
The Mako infantry fighting vehicle was designed for the System Alliance's frigates. Though the interior is cramped, an M35 is small enough to be carried in the cargo bay and easily deployed on virtually any world. With its turreted 155mm mass accelerator and coaxially mounted machine gun, the Mako can provide a fire team with weapon support as well as mobility. Since Alliance Marines may be required to fight on any world, the Mako is environmentally sealed and equipped with microthrusters for use on low-gravity planetoids. The Mako is powered by a sealed hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell and includes a small Element Zero core. While not large enough to nullify the vehicle's mass, the core can reduce it enough to be safely airdropped. When used in conjunction with thrusters, it also allows the Mako to extricate itself from difficult terrain.
Cool. Very, very cool.
Biotics is the ability of rare individuals to manipulate dark energy and create Mass Effect fields through the use of electrical impulses from the brain. Intense training and surgically implanted amplifiers are necessary for a biotic to produce Mass Effect fields powerful enough for practical use. The relative strength of biotic abilities varies greatly among species and with each individual. There are 3 branches of biotics. Telekinesis uses mass-lowering fields to levitate or impel objects. Mass-raising kinetic fields are used to block or pin objects. Spatial distortion uses rapidly shifting mass fields to shred objects. Most organic species are capable of developing biotic abilities, though there are risks involved. Biotics are the result of an in utero exposure to Element Zero. This usually causes fatal cancers in the victim, but in rare cases, it coalesces into nodules within the fetus's developing nervous system.
Okay, let's keep going. We've got AI, virtual intelligence, Mass Effect tools, and then
Combat Heart.
Weapon and armor,
Biotics
and that'll be
is the
pretty much
ability
everything.
An artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creation of a conscious AI requires adaptive code, a slow, expensive education, and a specialized quantum computer called a blue box. An AI cannot be transmitted across a communication channel or computer network. Without its blue box, an AI is no more than data files. Loading these files into a new blue box will create a new personality, as variations in the quantum hardware and runtime results create unpredictable variations. The Geth serve as a cautionary tale against the dangers of rogue AI, and in Citadel space they are technically illegal. Advocacy groups argue, however, that an AI is a living, conscious entity, deserving the same rights as organics. They argue that continued use of the term artificial is institutionalized racism on the part of organic life. The term synthetic is considered the politically correct alternative.
The politically correct alternative for Geth, let's be real.
A virtual intelligence is an advanced form of user interface software. VIs use a variety of methods to simulate natural conversation, including an audio interface and an avatar personality to interact with. Although a VI can provide a convincing emulation of sentience, they are not self-aware, nor can they learn or take independent action. VIs are used as operating systems on commercial and home computers. Minimal VI agents are also available. Agents are compact and specialized. Some serve as personal secretaries, filtering calls and scheduling meetings based on user-defined priorities. Others are advanced search engines, propagating themselves across the extranet to collate user-requested data. Commercial VIs in a variety of stock personalities are available at any software retailer. Boutique firms and hobbyists also build unique VIs to personal specification. Although software emulation of living personalities is illegal, reconstructions of famous historical figures are common.
Okay, and then Mass Effect fields?
Element 0 can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low-mass fields allow FTL travel and inexpensive surface-to-orbit transit. High-mass fields create artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low-mass fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys, while high-mass compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. The military makes extensive use of mobility-enhancing technologies, with Mass Effect utilizing fighting vehicles standard frontline issue in most military forces. Mass Effect fields are also essential in the creation of kinetic barriers or shields to protect against enemy fire. Omni-tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni-tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor, from a distance. The fabrication module can rapidly assemble small three-dimensional objects from common reusable industrial plastics, ceramics, and light alloys. This allows for field repairs and modifications to most standard items, as well as the reuse of salvaged equipment. Omni-tools are standard issue for soldiers and first-in colonists.
Okay, all the tech is done, and then just some weapon stuff.
Combat hard suits use a dual-layer system to protect the wearer. The inner layer consists of fabric armor with kinetic padding. Areas that don't need to be flexible, such as the chest or shins, are reinforced with sheets of lightweight, ablative ceramic. The outer layer consists of automatically generated kinetic barriers. Objects traveling above a certain speed will trigger the barrier's reflex system and be deflected, provided there is enough energy left in the shield's power cell. Armored hard suits are sealable to protect the wearer from extremes of temperature and atmosphere. Standard equipment includes an onboard mini-frame and a communications, navigation, and sensing suite. The mini-frame is designed to accept and display data from a weapon's smart targeting system to make it easier to locate and eliminate enemies. Kinetic barriers, more commonly called shields, provide protection against most mass accelerator weapons. Whether on a starship or a soldier's suit of armor, the basic principle remains the same. Kinetic barriers are repulsive mass effect fields, projected from tiny emitters. These shields safely deflect small objects traveling at rapid velocities. This affords protection from bullets and other dangerous projectiles, but still allows the user to sit down without knocking away their chair.
Very, very
The
important.
shielding afforded by kinetic barriers does not protect against extremes of temperature, toxins, or radiation. All modern infantry weapons, from pistols to assault rifles, use micro-scaled mass accelerator technology. Projectiles consist of tiny metal slugs suspended within a mass-reducing field,
Oh, that's cool.
accelerated by magnetic force to speeds that inflict kinetic damage. The ammo magazine is a simple block of metal. The gun's internal computer calculates the mass needed to reach the target based on distance, gravity, and atmospheric pressure, then shears off an appropriate-sized slug from the block.
That's
A single
crazy.
block can
What?
supply thousands of rounds, making ammo a non-issue during any engagement. Top-line weapons also feature smart targeting that allows them to correct for weather and environment. Firing on a target in a howling gale feels the same as it does on a calm day at the practice range. Smart targeting does not mean a bullet will automatically find the mark every time the trigger is pulled. It only makes it easier for the marksman to aim.
That's crazy. So I guess that's the way of explaining the ammo situation, where you don't have like multiple clips of ammo. Everything is just sheared off of this one small block that could provide thousands of bullets. That's really cool. So that is
Combat
everything.
hard suits use.
We went through a lot. We covered a lot of information, and over 2 codex entries. So this one's gonna be a little bit longer, probably around, like, I'm guessing 45 minutes, maybe more. And I think the previous one was over 35, like, so detailed. There's so much stuff. What I really like is how in the primary ones, they read everything. It would be cool if they did that for everything, but I imagine that's probably space limitations or whatever. I don't know why they wouldn't. But anyways, really, really cool. And I don't think I've ever played a game that has as much detail in a codex. Like, I thought The Witcher had, like, the journals that were super, super detailed. It's got nothing on this. This is like next level craziness and lots of technical information. Very crazy. But that's it. We're all caught up to date now, and I'm not sure if I'm going to read codex entries as they come or if I'll make separate videos. I talked about that a little bit in the first episode, or in the first codex video, but I still haven't decided. So we'll see how much stuff we get piled on us, and if it comes to be a lot, then we'll probably do it as a separate video. If we can maintain it as we go, we'll do that, but we'll see. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.